Good morning. It is currently 6:16 a.m. on Thursday, April 16th, 2015. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. I'm not taking very good care of myself, I don't think. I just am feeling vaguely like maybe I'm kind of sort of getting sick again. I hope not. Just a little bit, chest congestion, waking up. I haven't been getting quite enough sleep. It's just so easy to let it skate a little bit, go to bed a little bit too late every night in a row for several nights, and there you have it, right? It wasn't helped that last night there was somebody in my building making noise. I suspect it was a party of some kind. I couldn't really actually hear it very well because it was just enough noise that I could have probably just easily ignored it and gone right to sleep. I don't. Linda's running around. But even though I could have ignored it and gone to sleep, Luna was concerned. And so what was actually keeping me awake is Luna going, "Wah, wah, wah, wah," and just doing that because she was barking at whoever was making that noise, clearly wanting them to not make that noise. Oh, God. I love Luna. I love having a dog, but there are times when I, I wish she had a snooze button or volume control. I was this close to just like putting her in the bathroom with the door closed, but I didn't want to do that, and fortunately it eventually calms down, but here I am, tired. She's very sweet, though. She meant well. I was going to talk about something else today. Oh, right. This is a little bit of a follow-up to the self-promotion video from the other day. One thing that's interesting is that the blog post in particular that I was reacting to, I had a little bit of a discussion with some people about it and realized that when you really read the article carefully, what it actually says is a lot more reasonable than the headline would suggest. But I think I would still argue that, picking an inflammatory title and using some inflammatory language can overshadow the more reasonable points you might make later in the essay. So I still don't think that my reaction was unreasonable. However, I'm also certainly not the only person to have that reaction because the author wrote a follow-up post saying, "Okay, so here's some clarification on what I really meant." And I really appreciated that because, of course, the follow-up is pretty much exactly what I was all about, which is to say, I'm not saying that there is no possible way to do self-promotion, just don't be flooding people with endless buy my book ads that are all identical. And I certainly agree with that. And my whole point all along was the distinction between there are lots of ways to do self-promotion. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. And I think my only objection ever was the blanket statement that it doesn't work and that people should shut up and write. No, shutting up and write, I mean, Anyway, so the point is she followed it up with something that addressed a lot of my issues with the first article, so that's good. But one of the other things that it just had me thinking about was, the level of emotion in my response to a blog post from someone I've never heard of before. Just sort of had me thinking about, like, clearly I've got some insecurities about my own creative endeavors. If an article like that pushed my buttons so much. And, not that I would have questioned that even before, but it's also just kind of a reminder. Although in my own case, I think it's less about, oh, am I doing self-promotion right? Because, I don't know. It's more just a question of like, I do a lot of different things. Like I do these videos, I'm on Beyond the Wall talking about Survivor, sometimes talking about stuff, various movie podcasts, and then of course my own fiction stuff where like the project that I'm working on right now that I'm trying to get rewritten into a different structure is very different tonally from either Space Casey or Nina Kimberly. And so there's an element in my head of like, am I not focused enough? Should I be focusing more on some specific thing? Should I be trying to have my brand be more controlled? Should I be a laser instead of a shotgun? Or, as I said yesterday, not so much a shotgun as much as grabbing handfuls of spaghetti and then throwing them at the wall and then reaching for another handful before even looking to see what has happened with the first one. I don't know the answer to that. I suspect that in principle, my messaging would be more effective if it was more narrowly focused, but it's also quite possible that I would not enjoy it as much if I had to focus only on one thing at the exclusion of others. I know that I definitely tend to be scatterbrained in general. I'm constantly having to say, no, brain, that idea is for 3 projects from now. I will write it down, but then you need to shut up about it. And then my brain will say, okay, here's another idea for that project. All right, I'm over 5 minutes now, but, you got the gist. You picking up when I'm laying down here? Luna's making stuff fall off the desk. She's a silly dog. I'm going to go pet her. So remember, you can find all my stuff at christianaellis.com. And I will talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.